Firmware. While it shares a name with the motherboard firmware we discussed earlier, printer firmware is the specialized operating system that lives inside the printer itself. It manages the complex timing of the laser or ink jets, the mechanical rotation of the rollers, and the encryption protocols for secure network scanning. For a technician, keeping printer firmware updated is often the only way to solve persistent ghost bugs, like a printer that randomly goes offline or an MFD that fails to authenticate with an email server. The role of printer firmware. The firmware acts as the middleman between the high-level print driver on your computer and the physical motors inside the printer. It handles several critical tasks. Hardware synchronization. It ensures the paper moves at the exact speed required for the toner to be fused correctly. Security protocols. It manages the SSL/TLS certificates required for scan-to-email and ensures the printer's web interface isn't vulnerable to network attacks. Consumable tracking. It communicates with the chips on toner and ink cartridges to monitor levels and verify that the cartridges are genuine. Why a technician must perform firmware updates. Unlike your computer, which might update its firmware once a year, multifunction devices often require more frequent updates to maintain compatibility with modern office environments. 1. Resolving network compatibility if your office moves to a more secure network standard, like WPA3 for Wi-Fi. An older printer might stop connecting entirely. A firmware update teaches the printer's hardware how to speak these newer, more secure languages. 2. Patching zero-day vulnerabilities because MFDs are essentially computers with hard drives and network access. They are prime targets for hackers. Firmware updates often include critical security patches that prevent unauthorized users from accessing the documents stored in the printer's memory or using the printer as a gateway to the rest of your network. 3. Fixing mechanical bugs. Sometimes, a manufacturer discovers that a specific paper jam issue is actually caused by the timing of a motor. Instead of a physical repair, they release a firmware update that adjusts the motor's speed by a few milliseconds, fixing the mechanical problem through software. The process: how to flash printer firmware. There are 3 primary ways a technician will deploy a firmware update to a printer. The web interface, EWS. Most network printers have an embedded web server. You type the printer's IP address into a browser, navigate to the Support or Maintenance tab, and upload the firmware file directly. The manufacturer's utility. Many companies, like HP or Brother, provide a firmware update tool for Windows. You run the app, it searches your network for compatible printers, and pushes the update over the network. The USB method. For printers that are offline or bricked, non-functional, you may need to load the firmware onto a USB flash drive, plug it directly into the printer's maintenance port, and initiate a force flash using a specific combination of buttons on the control panel. The technician's golden rule of firmware. Just like with motherboards, never interrupt a firmware update. If the power is cut or the network cable is unplugged while the printer is writing to its internal memory, the printer will lose its ability to boot. On many modern MFDs, a failed firmware flash cannot be recovered by the user, and the entire formatter board, the printer's main circuit board, must be physically replaced.